Hi, everybody. Welcome to Drag Racing's Golden Era. My name is Randy. I'm the editor-in-chief here. Tonight, I didn't know how to classify this. Legends of the Sport, Heritage Series, Dry Hops. I didn't know which category to put this in, so we're just going to call this Legends of the Sport tonight. We're joined by Bobby Hilton. And, I've always wanted to sit down with this guy and talk history, and now I finally get a chance to do it. So, Bobby, welcome to the program. We're glad you're here.
Thanks for having us here, Randy. It's going to be great, man.
Well, and that's true, Bobby. I have always wanted to take time to sit. You're such a busy guy. I've always wanted to talk to you. So you were born into a drag racing family. I mean, I had the pleasure of meeting your dad, John, a couple of times while he was still with us, and you were born into that, weren't you?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. My dad had a race car in the garage the day I was born. He had a top gas dragster by the time I was 10, and went to the races every weekend. My mom, my brother, and I, and in a station wagon hanging over the back seat, peeking over the top. Yep.
What do you have any idea what year? Are we talking late
Oh
60s
yeah.
here?
Well, my dad started racing in the 50s. You know,
Yeah.
his first car was like a 34 Ford Coupe, and then he went right to a dragster. So when we started going, it was 60, 61, 62. My mom was dragging us to race when we were babies. That's what we did. That's what we did. We went to the races every weekend. Yeah.
Well, your dad eventually progressed into that top fuel category, and what was that like in the beginning? You remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, I mean, I was pushing him. By the time you were talking about Dixon earlier, it was the same way, man. He just, you're pushing your father all the time to do more, do more. Let's go, Dad, let's go. And we didn't go top fuel racing until 73, 4, right after they did away with top gas. You know, the NHRA dropped that class, and most all the fellows there around Division 3 went top fuel racing. We fooled around a little bit with competition eliminator for a year or two because we would have been classified as a double B gas dragster, and did well with it. Really held the record for a while, and uh, but yeah, it was top fuel time. We bought Don Long car from Tommy Larkin. It was like the second or third car that Long ever built. And we raced that for probably 2 years. And then we had Billy Stebbins down in Kentucky build us a brand. He's passed away now too. He's S&S Engineering. He built a lot of really well-known cars. Clayton Harris's
Yeah.
cars, Freaks and Funk's cars, Gold Digger cars. So anyhow, he built us a nice new race car, and we ran it for couple years, and I wrote my dad into letting me drive it when I was 15 or 16, and I wadded it into a pile about the third or fourth weekend. So we were devastated as a family because at that time, man, everything you had, you put towards your race car. And as time went on, your trailer got nicer, your tools got nicer, your part, and so it just, and then all of a sudden there was nothing. And I was I was not the best kid on the block, uh, and I'm sorry for that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so anyhow, we went on. I actually, my dad, he kind of stepped back, and it took me 9 months to heal up. I broke both my arms
Yeah.
uh, pretty badly. It was about the same time Dick LaHaye was getting hurt real bad. Um, There was a young kid down in Oklahoma, I believe, that he hurt himself real bad and won.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I went on and started driving cars for other people. Um, I went on and drove. My first car was driving for Alan Starr. I don't know whether you've ever known who Alan
Starliner?
Starr is, but Alan Starr was,
Yeah.
yes, Alan Starr was one of the most gracious men on this planet. He was from Greensboro, North Carolina, and he he called he called Clayton Harris and said, "Hey man, what do you think we should put Bobby in my race car?" Clayton, I'll call his mom. So Clayton called my mom and said, "Peggy, could we put Bobby in Alan's car?" And so yes, and I was over the moon, and he flew me to Gulfport, Mississippi, the first time I ever drove it to match race Clayton Harris at night, and I was I wasn't petrified, man. I was just like nervous, and I think the first run I couldn't reach the shifter, the two-speed car. I couldn't get to the shifter, and he raised hell with me. I said, "You move that shifter lever, and I'll get this thing to the finish line." Anyhow, we ended up the weekend, and then ran the whole rest of the summer with him. Uh, that first year, yeah, and then went on and drove a Gold Digger car the following year. Uh, Drove my dad, and by then my dad got his car back together, and I drove it several times, and that was about the time I ran into Jim and Al, and that changed my life. It
So
really did.
speaking of
Uh,
Clayton Harris, that I think I read this. I think it was a Phil Burgess article I read one time that said you were 13 years old when you went out on tour with Clayton Harris. Is that right?
Oh yeah, yeah. So Clayton Harris and my mom and dad became great friends, and because Clayton was the easiest guy on the planet to get along with, we actually bought a lot of race car parts from Clayton when he was with Jack McKay, and we became great friends. And he took me on tour, and I mean literally back then, man, he match raced every weekend, and we were racing Jeb a lot on the East Coast, Atco, Englishtown, all up Cecil County, all up and down the East Coast. And back then, man, you only had, so it was Clayton and a boy named Jimmy Cates and me, and that was all you had. And
Wow.
yeah, I was 13. Went to the first year I was with him. I ended up going to Ontario with him, I believe, at the end of the year. I can't. I ended up racing with him for quite a few years. I did. Whenever he needed help. Whenever he needed help.
Okay, so
Great man.
I just got to ask how when you're 13, you're supposed to be going to school. How the hell did that all work out like that?
Well, I mean, we're racing in the summer, right? And
Yeah.
then when it was school time, I would bag out every now and then, and uh, but I graduated. My mom, that was her goal in life, man, was to have me graduate high school. And she would deliver me to the front door, and I'd walk out the back door. So, but I did graduate from high school, but it was all about race cars, man.
Yeah.
It wasn't baseball. It wasn't 69 Chevelles. It wasn't bicycles. It was freaking Top Fuel dragsters, man. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you must. What? How old are you, Bobby? How old are you?
Me right now, I
You
was
got to
born
think
in
about it.
'57. So what? Oh yeah, I quit count. I'm going to be 69. I was born in '57.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you got 10 years on me. I started going to the drag races in the very early 70s and watching guys like you come to Great Lakes Dragaway and the match racing and the Olympics of drag racing and the IHRA Summer Nationals and all that I grew up around. I can tell you, by the time I became a teenager, we would do anything we could to run down to Great Lakes and party all week. We'd stay in a tent out in the grounds and
Oh,
just party all weekend. And it was the best times of my life.
I'll tell you, man, we raced the Great Lakes a
Yeah.
whole lot. With my mom and dad, we would run U.S. What is it, Gary, Indiana. We'd
Yep.
run there on I don't know, man, like on a Wednesday, and then we'd tow to Great Lakes and run 2 or 3 nights up there. And then we did run those IHRE races. I drove that Gold Digger car up there several
Yep.
times. Paul Romine at that time was just getting started in the nitro racing. My dad got him started in racing. That's another story. But anyhow, Paul built a Top Fuel car, and we all raced up there. Hell, we raced there. I want to say it was 4th of July or Memorial Day weekend. I don't remember. They had fireworks, and we were bad kids, Randy. We were bad. It,
I've actually got a
uh,
picture of you who's somewhere here, just a little Polaroid picture I took of you in the Gold Digger up there at Great Lakes Dragaway. I've got it here someplace. I haven't been able to find it.
oh yeah, no, we raced up there quite a bit. Was Great Lakes. Yep. Yeah.
And Broadway Bob, he was one of a kind. I mean, that track was just a party track. There's
That's what it
no way
was.
to put it.
I think it did well for itself for many, many years, it's ebbed and flowed a little bit since then, like all of them do.
Yeah.
But no, them
Well,
was good times, man. Them was good times. Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, that's when I met up with Jim and Al.
Yeah.
Um,
So, I
so,
mean, tell me how that introduction happened. How did you meet up with Jim and Allison? How did that happen?
well, if you read Phil Burgess's article, we were in Florida for a winter series, run 3, 4 races with my dad's car, and we beat them 2 or 3 races straight. And they
Yeah.
was they, and that's how Jimmy and Allison were. You know, I mean, they weren't scared to put a driver in the car. They went through a dozen by the time it was over, and they wanted me in the race car. And so actually, they never asked me. They had somebody come ask me, and if I would drive it for them. Well, hell yeah, you know what I mean. That was well, it was a top level car. I can remember standing looking. They used to have a Suburban, man, and it was all decked out, hauling a pull-along trailer with a complete spare hanging there. And I can just remember staring at it when I was a kid, you know, like wow. And then so they called me and asked me to drive the car. Of course, you know, it was the top of the line.
What was the first car you drove? Was it the one with that? Didn't it have
Oh
like?
yeah, yeah, that was a brand new car then. That car, Lester Guillory built that car in Louisiana. And I said it before, I have no idea why Jim and Al went down that road. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because they were very conservative. They had several Stebbins cars. Bill Stebbins built 3 or 4 race cars for them. So they were real clean cut working cars. And this thing Lester built was way over the top. And it was a whole different thought process. And I don't know how they ever went that direction, but they did, and it took forever to build. And yeah, I made the first runs in it. Uh, it was ahead of its time. A lot of it, the body style, and we at that time the top fuel cars, man, were still rev them up, pedal clutch, Hayes clutches in them, no fuel pump. We didn't know what a fuel pump was, and you burn them up. You know what I mean? We didn't have it. We kept putting bigger blowers on them. Didn't know what to do about a fuel pump. You know, and but anyhow, that car had a hard time at first. It was heavy, but by the time the second year came around and we were able to understand bigger fuel pumps and load, and we ran good with it. We won a lot of races. We won Bristol, which was a big race in its day, 25 grand to win. Beat Thorpe in the finals. Um, we won Darlington. Yes, Darlington was a $15,000 race. Beat Connie Coletta in the finals. Won the Division II championship. Won a lot of races. Won a lot of points meets.
Well, and that's a good, all of that combined, the points racing, which I mean, essentially doesn't exist anymore
Correct.
for the fuel level cars anyway. But match racing was the lifeblood of drag racing back then. That's how you bought your parts. That's how you paid your bills was
Yes.
match racing. And, we used to live for the match racing. It just, they'd pop up from time to time down at Great Lakes down here. You never knew who you were going to get. Big Daddy and Shirley'd be in there all the time
Yep.
racing each other. And that would be, standing room only. So, I mean,
We
it's a,
ran we we ran a series called the Pro Fuel Series, and it was an East Coast series that Mike Lewis, Mike Lewis
yeah,
with Maple Grove, they had a top fuel car, his brother and him, called Sparkling Burgundy, and then they started a series. Freddie Fortner, Jim and Al, Mike Lewis, Ted Wolf. It was about 6 or 8 cars, and we stayed busy with that a lot. We ran Maple Grove, Atco, a lot of Maryland tracks. It was a East, Middle East, Mid East coast
were the
series.
payouts were enough to pay for it?
Oh my God, yes, man. Back then, we didn't take the pistons out of the motor every round. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We took it apart at night, and we took the clutch out. Maybe, you know what I mean? It was run different. It was fun.
yeah,
3 of us could run the car, Jim and
yeah.
Allison and I, and not anymore. Hell, you can't do that with a heritage car.
So I guess early on for you guys running big block Chevys, and I remember, uh, the first time I saw Tyler run down at Bowling Green, you guys had a big block Chevy in that nostalgia car too. What was the deal with the big block Chevy? Why did you guys?
Well, my dad and I ran a big block way back in the day
Yeah,
with our family car. Um, in the 70s, it was a very affordable way to run a top fuel car. It was.
Okay.
Hell, we ran truck blocks, man, with a truck crankshaft and a stock oil pan and a stock oil pump with closed chambered heads, and you could build the whole motor for less than 5 grand.
Wow.
So that's why. And then eventually we had Rodax,
Yeah.
Rodax built a block for him, a cast block. So that's kind of where the mentality came from. So when Tyler and I and Allison, we decided to go racing, they decided, um, I thought, well, I told you this before, we were going to go 7-0 racing.
Yeah.
And so we built this race car to go 7-0 racing, and we went one weekend, and that was it. And I was like, man, I'm not into this. Well, it's index racing,
I know.
and we were running the NDRL, and we could run nitro because that's kind of a wide open 7-0 style of racing. So I think I had 65% in it with a 2-speed, and it went 670s, and it
Yeah.
just wasn't going to work. So later that summer, we ended up going ahead and getting Tyler's license, putting all the safety gear on it.
Yeah.
Finished his license in Bowling Green in the fall, and the next year we went right to heritage racing.
Well, I mean,
Took,
but as far as the big block Chevy goes, there's one guy that always stands out when it came to big block Chevy was Butcher.
oh yeah, back in the day. Well, Jim lived 10 miles from our house.
Yeah.
Did that
Oh,
have
okay.
influence? I don't know. It had some influence. Jim was he was really to himself. But you know what, man? That fella, he ran every NHRA national event there was to run. He was the guy that had a half-ton pickup truck, nice stuff, and he'd go all the way to Pomona, man, in February from Cincinnati. Sometimes by himself. I rode in a truck with him a few times, just catching a ride, hitching a
Yeah.
ride. He was definitely committed, and he ran that car out of Johansson's shop at Howard Cam's, Jerry Johansson's and them, and he was part of Dixon's dad's kind
Yeah.
of group,
Yep.
when Larry ran the big block. So yeah, that was influence on it, and he stuck with it. He made some of the best runs back then. I
Yep.
mean, right now for a big block on nitro, we still have the quickest and the fastest. We ran a 578 and we went 258 with a big block in a front motor car. So that was pretty good.
Well, if I remember right, and this is from reading stuff, Jim Butcher was probably the last guy to be running a big block Chevy on the NHRA events.
Yeah,
I don't think there was anybody else.
Well, see, we put one in our rear engine car and ran it a bit there right before I got in Jim and Al's car. But Johnny Davis, who
Yeah.
now is the crew chief on the car my brother drives, he ran a big block on into the 80s, and he
Okay.
made some really big runs at Indy. But he was a one-man band with not a lot of financing, and so yeah, I'd say Johnny was probably was one of the last. Yeah.
I guess, that kind of okay, I got to ask you about this.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You can ask away, man.
Yeah. You married Jim and Allison's daughter.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, she's walking through the door right now. You can come in, baby. It's not live. Yeah, I married her. She married me. It was the deal, man. We was racing with Jeb.
Yeah.
We went on tour with Jeb and driving around the country, dude. I mean, like, we went from Denver and we held ourselves up in Coeur d'Alene for about 3 weeks, and then we went on to Brainerd, and then we went to Indy, and her mother arranged this wedding at the farm, and yeah, we got married. Jimmy didn't talk to me for quite a time.
I was going to say it was. I think in that Jim Burgess article I read, he said something like, "Yes, he married the farmer's daughter."
Oh yeah, no, that's it. We actually lived together for a year or so. We went to we raced mostly that whole time. We had an apartment in Cincinnati. I honestly, man. So I was driving her mom and dad's car, and they decided they were going to have another driver. And I at that point I was staying at the farm, and I was pissed, man.
I
And
bet.
I was pissed, and and I convinced Diane she needed to move and live with me in Cincinnati. So they were gone. They were gone to the races, and I came and picked her up. I had a '66 Olds convertible that I had bought with the money from Bristol, and I come and picked her up with a U-Haul trailer. She's over there shaking her head. I come picked her up in a U-Haul trailer, and she put all her credit cards on the table and told her mom and wrote her mom a note and said she was moving to Cincinnati.
Holy crap.
And they didn't know the better until they got home and read. Oh
Oh, I
yeah,
bet Jim was pissed.
yeah. Jimmy didn't care much for it. Allison, she didn't mind. She flew over there and saw us, and I helped her decorate an apartment and all that. Because Al, she was a pretty free spirit, you know. She
Yeah.
didn't. She was a way free spirit. So she was probably yeah for Diane.
Well, that's one of the things about Allison that I could never get my mind wrapped around. She was a hard working person.
Oh
And I
yeah.
mean, there's horse farms involved here and there's money involved here, but drag racing, I could just never get my mind wrapped around that.
Well, she had so much passion for it. I mean, if you go back, like, we've been able in the last couple of years to be able to go through. She was a big note writer, notes to herself or notes about the race car, very meticulous, and just going back and looking at some of the notes she had made and seeing how much passion she had to do it. That it was her. I mean, obviously Jimmy loved it too, and that's what brought her to it. But if it was up to her, they'd have never stopped, and she'd still be doing it today.
Yeah.
So um,
Well,
we
she definitely, the interview that I did with her, that was
that was a good one. Yeah.
wow. She was still fiery right up till that point there.
Oh yeah. No, she uh, she had a lot of energy right there at that point. Because we were doing well with the race car, and that's what she lived for. She lived for that car Tyler guys. That's it, man. You know what I mean? That's what
Well,
she
let's
was
bring it
living.
forward, Bobby. Let's bring it forward to current day stuff. So you guys start out, you got Great Expectations 3
Yep.
and a big block Chevy, and you guys go nitro racing, and wow, what an impact. I mean, when you guys started, the Heritage Series was probably a little bigger than it is right now. Is that fair to
Yeah.
say?
There was probably more participation in the dragster class, yes.
Yeah. Was
But
Steve Gibbs still running it yet at that point when you guys got?
it was his it was his last year
Okay.
because I can remember taking Tyler up to Epping when they had that heritage race in Epping, and
Yep.
Steve was still running it up there. Yeah.
Well, you guys had a hell of an impact, I guess, right out of the gate. What what attributes to that, Bobby? I mean, how did you guys step into it and boom, there you are?
Well, I mean, I used a name. It was my idea to,
Yeah.
I'll take credit for that. Well, I mean, I was like, look, if we're going to do this, man, we're going to call it Great Expectations, and
Yep.
we're going to paint it candies yellow and blue, and that's how we're going to make an impression right off the bat. And I knew that if we did that, we took Tyler as a third generation driver and blended all that together to the Heritage Series, I knew it'd be a home run, and it was. In a home run in this little micro world that we live in.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
the thing about it, the Heritage Series to me, because of what I do, I get credentials to Gainesville and I can actually get NHRA credentials to all the big shows, but I never see what the point of that is because for what I'm doing here, I, I mean, I don't need to be another one of 32 guys taking the same photograph from the starting line. I
no.
don't need to do that. I'd rather hear the stories of the old days.
It's a it's a niche. I would have never got involved with racing again. My brother got me involved. You know what I mean? I had nothing to do with a drag race for over 30 years. Nothing. Um, I didn't even watch it on TV, man. I
Yeah.
didn't. I just had nothing to do with it. And my brother bought a cackle car of all things, and he's like, "Man, come with us. Come with us to Bowling Green." I was like, "Man, I don't want to do that." He goes, "No, you guys come down. Bring Tyler." Okay, so we flew down there for one of the races. I don't know. Hell, it was in 14 or 15, and got got his cackle car running for him, and just being around it, I was getting itching. And then I watched the Top Fuel cars, and I think Sorokin was there with their Hemi car, the R&B car, and Schutz was there, and Dale Emery was there, and I'm like, Howard was driving one for Butch Blair, and I'm like, shit, man, we could do this. I could do that. I know I could. And one thing led to another, and here we are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so let's talk a little bit more about the Heritage then. So you guys transition out of the that was the original car, right? The big block Chevy. That was the first one that was built, or was there one before that?
No, no, no. That was it. J. Ed Horton built that car down
Uh,
in South
Yep.
Carolina. I'm
Yep.
gonna get Orville out of the way. Go on, Orville. No, he's nosy.
So J-Ad built that. Okay.
J. Ed built that car. It was a 210-inch car to begin with, and we ran it for 2 or 3 years, and actually had it running really good. It had run a lot of low 580s and with a lot of speed. And I'm like, oh man, we need the front half of this car, and we lengthened it out to 225. And J. Ed did it, and Phil Hartman down there, and it was almost too much race car for that Chevrolet. You know what I'm saying? In
Yeah.
other words, it was too good.
Yep.
And so we ran it. We ran well with it. We won one race in Tulsa, won our first race. We won it too. I mean, we beat Wittenberg in the finals, beat Murphy first round. I mean, we flat ass outran them. And then of course we went through that Bowling Green thing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And you already know my feelings about all that.
Yeah, I do.
So yeah, and so then later that year we runnered up. The following year we runnered up at the March meet. And I'm like, man, we're doing good. And then we had that bad fire, and we had a couple things happen. And I'm like, we went to Tulsa, and we were leading the points, man, because we had run that Tulsa Bowling Green deal and won it, right?
Yep.
Nobody else won it, so we're leading the points. And we go to Tulsa, we got a little tiny ass points lead, and we go there and we don't qualify. And I was freaking devastated, man. I was so mad. I was throwing shit. I told everybody to leave me alone. I'll load this car. And all the guys, they were like, why is he like this? I was gone, man.
Yeah.
And so I get in the truck and we're driving home, and I called my brother. I said, I'm done with this shit, man. Well, what are you going to do? I said, I might come home. He had a Sterling car there. I said, I may come home and pick up that Sterling car, put all this motor stuff in it. I said, Tyler's complaining he can't see out of his car. He can't drive it. I'm done with it. And he said, well, you can do that, but does Bartone and them still got that car for sale? And I said, I can find out. And Michael and Tony Labor were still at the Tulsa at the racetrack, and I called Tony. I said, that car for sale? He goes, yeah. He said, well, Mikey said, tell him we'll take it. And I said, tell Michael we'll take it. He said, I could hear Michael. He goes, you tell him I'll meet him at the shop on Saturday. Bring cash. Just like that.
Okay,
And
I got to
went,
ask you, did you really go out there with a briefcase full of cash?
Oh, yeah, man. them guys that work for Michael, that blew their mind. It didn't blow Michael's mind. Michael's cool as hell, but oh yeah, I went out there with a big briefcase. I went straight to Cincinnati, unloaded the rig, got with my brother, we got all that together, and I drove straight to Long Island and with an empty trailer. Loaded that, listen, this is the best story in the world, man. Loaded that car in a trailer on Long Island, paid Michael, flipped the switch, and he slapped it down, said, thanks, man, see you later. And loaded that car, went straight to Cincinnati with it, went through all the parts, went through the car. Brandon painted it. in a 2 week period and went to Bowling Green, made 2 test hits, went to Bakersfield, won the whole thing, won the points, set low ET of the meet, won
Yeah,
the points, and won the race. Pissed everybody off,
I
man.
bet it did.
Oh yeah,
I,
that was the one right
I
there.
remember that. I think I called you right after I heard you bought that car, and I'm like, what
Oh
the
yeah.
hell are you doing?
Oh yeah. I mean, was it a? I mean, absolutely, it was a great car. It
Yeah,
still is a great car.
yeah,
But you can buy a race car like that, but you still got to race it. You still
yeah,
got to tune it. You
yeah,
still got to be able to understand changes in it, changes in the racetrack. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I think we've done real well with it. I mean, obviously we won 4 championships consecutive.
So how are you going to get that monkey off your back? And you know which monkey I'm referring to.
Well, I mean, that's the one I really want. You know, I mean, look, do we need to go racing for 5 championships? It's hard, Randy. It's
Yeah,
so hard. I can't keep this group of guys together right now. You know, I'm
yeah,
having to start uh, looking for extra help. You know what I mean? Guys are bagging out on me, and which I get it. You know what I mean? We chased around the country for 4 straight years, and we
yeah.
did it for a couple years before that with the Chev. So we'll go to the March meet. I mean, we're already set to go, you know, which is coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But we'd like to get it done. We had the race last year. We had the car. We had everything. We had a little hiccup in the final. Yeah, that's all it was. We had a little hiccup. I mean,
Yeah.
that car, it ran real quick. It ran 64, 64, 65, 61, 64, 64 on them consecutive runs. Every one of them were over
Wow.
260 miles an hour. And in the final, we had a hiccup. We had a two-step in the final, and that's
Uh,
he don't make many mistakes. And I don't know. He don't know. It just happened. He was having really good lights. He had an 040 light to run before, and he
wow.
was so zoned into the tree that he thought he left too soon. And
Uh,
I was devastated. We wanted it back. If we'd have won that one, I'm not sure I would ever went back. You know what I mean? Just because
yeah.
it's a hell of an effort to take a race car out there.
So, I
It,
mean, this year in there's a Tulsa, I'm sorry, Great Bend, Kansas. Has that
yes.
race been confirmed and that's
Oh
actually going
yes,
to happen?
absolutely. So the Heritage Series will entail Bakersfield, Bowling Green, Great Bend
Uh,
on July 4th. It's Great
wow.
Bend,
Okay.
which is going to be a huge event because it's coordinated with the city, and the city does a big Fourth of July celebration. It's all going to be combined. I mean, that racetrack they just spent a ton of money on. It's completely restored, completely resurfaced. So anyhow, from Great Bend, Boise, back up to Reading and down to Bakersfield.
Okay.
So do
Well,
I
I,
see myself running them all? I don't know, man. I
yeah.
don't. It's
Oh, I
it's
know it, Bobby. You're going to get the itch and you're going to go. You know it.
it's
Come
just
on.
hard. Like the hardest part is the people,
Yeah.
you know. And between you and I, Tony's not going anymore. So
Uh,
that's a huge hit for me because you know he coordinates the maintenance of the motor. You know what I mean? The valve train, the timing. I do Tyler and I tune it, injection, jetting, clutch. But he, you know, I always had the confidence that the mechanical parts was right.
yeah.
So, and I just found out about it this week. It wasn't like I've known about it for a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling right now to find someone that wants to race a little bit. The rest of the guys want to go. So,
Well,
um,
I hope that you can find somebody pretty rapidly for that because
oh, I think, well, for sure we'll get through Bakersfield, but it's like any race team. It's like a football team.
yeah,
It's like a basketball team. You got to have that synergy all the time,
yeah,
and that's what wins races. You could have the baddest race car on the planet, and I mean, look, it's just like when we went to Bakersfield that first time with that car, right,
yeah,
dude? Them guys had never worked on a Hemi. Tony had, but the guys working on the rest of the race car. But it was the same trailer, it was the same tool trays, and we just clicked, man. We put a motor in it for the final, and you know we put a motor in it for the final, and so it's gonna suck. It's I don't know. It hurts me a little bit
yeah.
feeling wise. You know what I mean? But
Well, I guess that's a question for you. I mean, you're pretty intricately involved in the Heritage Series and the, how
Oh,
it's
I
run and
think
the
so. Yeah. I
operations.
mean, I think
What
I'm.
do you think the future looks like for it?
Oh, I think it's got a bright future. I really
Yeah.
do. The car count is ebbing a little bit right now for top fuel cars. The funny cars are doing real well. The biggest issue the top fuel cars have is it's primarily NHRA Heritage Series, primarily a West Coast series.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It
Yep.
is. So you got to if you can keep a 6 car touring group going to all the races, and then you get 2 or 3 regional cars to participate in each race, you're going to have good full fields. And
Yep.
that's what they're struggling with a little bit right now is keeping 8 car fields. And we need to have 10 cars and 8 cars on the grid is what we need.
Yep. So,
You know,
I mean, Bobby, you don't have to answer this, but what does it cost to run the Heritage Series? What are you laying out to run that?
it's all over the map, man.
Is it?
Can a guy like me who obviously was getting quite a bit of help from Tony. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
was, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to get that help anymore. He's way overcommitted in his shop, way overcommitted. He's a one-man band, but he was doing a lot of service work on the motors. You see what
Yep.
I mean? And I bring hot rod builds to the table, with his motor combinations. So anyhow, that's out the window. But man, I don't know what to say. It costs a couple grand to run, at least,
Yeah.
a couple thousand a pass.
Yep.
So you make 6 runs in a weekend, you're talking about 12 grand,
Yeah. And
and
that
that's
doesn't
a
include
lot.
hotels and travel and food
No,
and all
it
that stuff.
don't. A lot of the teams that race this series or the owners can afford to fly the guys in, and they can actually afford to even pay them a little bit. Our deal is all volunteer. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I make sure they got a hotel, and they got food to eat and a beer to drink at the end of the night, and they get to stand in the winner's circle. That's the passion that brought it all together.
Yeah.
Otherwise it turns into a job,
Yep.
right? I mean, it does. It's a big show job. That's all big show racing is. It's a freaking job, man.
I
I've been
know.
around it too much, having bunker around and understanding, it's a job. That's all it is, man. They punch a time clock.
Yeah.
And I don't, for me, it's a passion. It's the kind of passion that you fight with your wife over, you fight with your friends over. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I
Because
fully understand.
you want it so bad. You know what I mean? And you're constantly walking this tightrope of finding money, tearing up shit, trying to find somebody to help you fix it. So
I get it.
yeah,
I, I don't want to talk about me, but my little story is 8 years old. I go to the drag strip, Great Lakes Dragaway. And, the people who watch us have heard this story before. And I remember my dad pointing out at the track, and I said, "Who's that guy standing out there with that box in his hand?" He goes, "Well, he's the starter." And I remember telling my dad way back then, "I'm going to stand out there someday. I'm going to be right there on the track." And he's like, "Oh, no, you won't be." It took me 40 plus years, but I ended up being on the track. Now,
Oh
not with a
yeah.
starting box in my hand, but with a camera. So I know what it's like to chase that and the passion of it, because I've been a lifelong passionate drag racing fan. I lost a little interest in the early 2000s. In that period, it sort of waned for me just because I didn't understand what was going on with all this
Yeah, it
big
was too
racing.
homogenized, man. It still is, but uh, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Wouldn't have been hard to lose interest. I was nowhere near it. I'm telling you, I bought a boat and went tuna fishing every weekend of my life off the eastern shore of the United States, from Delaware to North Carolina. I mean, 30 miles offshore in a 28-foot center console, man, catching bluefin. That's what I did. That's where I got my rush for about 15 years.
so
Yeah.
I came across something too about you and a horse track, designing a
Well,
horse.
yeah,
What
no,
what
no,
what is
no.
that?
We quit racing. Diane and I quit. We got married. Don't ask me what year, man.
I won't tell.
82, I think.
I
Anyhow,
won't tell.
we came here to live in Virginia, and Allison had a friend named Arthur Arundel, that was building a steeplechase race course from scratch. I mean, off of a piece of a 300-acre piece of ground from scratch, nothing. And she hooked me up with him. He owned a series of newspapers. He's gone now. And he was the other fork in the road that I took that was the right fork. I've said it before. Taking the fork with Allison was the right fork. And
Yep.
then there was one more, and that was Mr. Arundel. And he took care of me I'm still here. I still manage that place
Yeah.
42 years later. Yeah, we built it. It's a steeplechase facility. We do two big steeplechase races a year. I don't know whether you're familiar. Steeplechase
Not
races
really.
jump. Steeplechase racing is a European sport that came to the East Coast of the United States in the 1800s.
Uh,
Allison's father was a steeplechase jockey, and so they jump fences. In other words, it's a 3 mile to 4 mile circuit of a loop, and on that circuit will be jumps, and they're either hurdle fences, which are brush, or they're timber fences, which are wood, and they jump those fences 23 times over a 4 mile race called the Virginia Gold Cup. It's a 100-year-old race, and then
wow.
we're right in the middle of fox hunting country. I can hear the hounds from my house. Orange County Kennels, Middleburg Hunt, Piedmont Hunt. It's a microcosm of horse sport. We play a lot of polo. We have a full scale Bermuda polo field. We
Yeah.
do 3 day eventing in the back. So anyhow, it's grown and grown and grown. I've been here 42 years. I don't know. Right now I have a really good staff, and they run it. Our home right now is right across the street, man. I can look right at the shop in
Uh,
the main office. Um, I tell you, Arundel took care of me when I was really bad. When I first quit racing, I was bad. I was with Jeb. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
And 3 rehabs later,
Yeah.
I'm here today, and Arundel took care of all of it. And you know what, Randy? The best part, when I was a kid and I came to work here, he said, "You're going to live in that house right there." It was a nice Cape Cod. Okay, boss, but you're going to pay me rent. And I said, "What do you mean I'm going to pay you rent? I'm working here." He goes, "You're going to pay me rent." So 30 years goes by. He passed away. He passed away. He was 80 something. And the attorneys called from town. So we're going to send out an appraiser to appraise the house. And I'm like, fuck. And so the appraiser come out. We looked at the house, and the next day the attorneys called and said the deed for the house is in town. It's all signed. It's all yours.
Wow.
How's that? They don't do that no
Crap.
more.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a mortgage. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It
I
was a
hear you.
mortgage. It was a mortgage that he knew I'd never be able to pay. And so I've stayed here as the manager, and I'll stay a little bit longer. It's at a high level now. We're a nonprofit. We're a 501, and with a board of directors.
Yeah.
So, which has been all over the place in 40 years, if you can
Yeah.
imagine. And executive directors. You talk a lot about the museum
Yeah.
and what they go through. I'll tell you, I know exactly what that museum goes through because
Yeah.
they're a 501. Trying
Yep.
to keep an executive director's a waste of time, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Justify your own salary and you'll be okay. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I don't understand that. But getting back to the Heritage Series, it's a good race, good racing. The I want to see it thrive and continue, and I'll
Right.
help. We went out to a meeting. We did our banquet at the museum this year
Yeah.
during the Grand National. And earlier in the day, we had a meeting of the top fuel dragsters folks, and it's doing well. It's doing well. Everybody's got to get on the same page, and it'll never happen,
Yeah.
but that's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a bit of news is Bowling Green is going to be run by Brock Porter this year. No more NHRA. In other words, it's an NHRA heritage event,
Yeah.
but Brock and Beach Bend Park have taken over the whole race. And
Really?
they'll do exactly what Blake does with the fall race now.
Okay.
Uh, they'll run the event just like their event, and they'll make a donation to the museum in the name of the Heritage Series.
Gotcha.
That's how, which I think I told you that before. That's kind of the direction it was going.
Yeah.
I think he'll do a great job with it. They do a lot of events down there. I
Yeah.
mean, Mo Power Days, Ford Days, uh, Sports Nationals coming back there. Anyhow, they do a hell of a job. So
Well, I I hope the future is bright because for me, and I know we're losing our legends, they're
oh yeah,
I've got this picture sitting over my shoulder back here of Ron Hope on the starting line. That's the last race he ever attended. I just happened to be fortunate enough to capture that. But that's why I go to these because not only have you got really cool racing, you've got the past there too, right? You got these guys from the past that are there.
well you learn from the past, man.
Yep.
You learn from that, and Cromwell came to that banquet out there. Uh, And I think they get it. They can't live off of the legends. They can't. You know what I
Oh,
mean? They've
yeah,
went down that rabbit hole where they're at. But you have to understand the importance of your history to know where you're going to go. And so it's important that they keep that Heritage Series going. Mike Rice is a big, big supporter. Mike, I don't know whether you got to meet Mike much.
no,
He's the competition director for
yeah,
all of
yeah,
NHRA, and then also runs the Heritage Series. And then Blake Bowser's come on really big as a leader
yeah.
for the race meets. So I think they're going to be fine.
Well, this will be interesting this year. I'm just trying to think. I wonder how I get my media credentials for this event for Bowling Green and for,
Well,
is it
and
still going to be run through the museum?
I don't know. I don't think so. I can
Okay.
find out more for you about that because that was a little vague. NHRA, they're still going to use like the safety safari. They're still going to use
Yeah,
staff as far as like Mike Rice and the
yeah,
tech people, but I do not know that. I'll let me find out because
yeah,
I need to find out because as past honorees, there's a little perk to that for us. You know what I mean? As far as ticketing and things like that.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Gotcha. All right.
yeah,
Well, Bobby, but one last thing I got to ask you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I, I did my Jeb interview. I remember that phone call from
John,
you. I
go
remember
ahead.
that
I'm
phone
sorry.
call from you. You know, can you send him a text message? Has anything developed out of that? Have you guys?
Well, just like I told you, man, the Reading thing,
Yeah,
it scared the hell out of him. It
yeah,
did. You know what I mean? He could see him. I think he's very in tune with what we'll call triggers. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And a
yeah,
trigger for him is hearing a nitro motor run. I mean, damn, man, just look at some of the videos from when he was a kid racing. It was so much intensity, so
yeah,
much passion, and it was at a time in life where that's all you needed. You know what I
yeah,
mean? We'll figure out the money part. It's the passion, and that's a big part of it for him coming back around. Could I talk to him more? Maybe. His wife, she's got glaucoma,
yeah.
glaucoma. So, and they spend a lot of time in Hawaii. So he's done really well for himself, and
Oh
he's
yeah,
keeps himself really busy. Um, if we go back to Reading, I'll twist his arm this time to come out. I was, I was really, I was in a worn out place by the time we got to Reading this year,
yeah,
man. I was,
yeah,
and I couldn't even barely focus to get the racing done. And then I could have finished that whole points thing right there, and this damn thing broke a push rod tip, broke a frickin' push rod tip, and knocked the blower off, tore more shit up in one run than we had in 3 years. And
wow,
we were racing Kaiser, man.
yeah,
You could put this in there or not, I don't care, because we was racing Kaiser, man. And if we beat Kaiser, it's done right there. We don't even need to go to Bakersfield. And we get into we're in the bleach box with the starters hung on the motor, and we had lane choice. And I went up the start line. I turned around, walked back, and I said, "Hey, we're going to change lanes," just like that. Oh man, I could see the steam coming out of his helmet. So we had to unhook all the starters and jockey the cars around and get in the other lanes, and we had the car to beat, man. And it went out there about 3, 4. No, it went further than that. It broke that push rod tip, and knocked the blower off, and then it knocked the chutes out on the Leahy. And in the same time, he struck the tires and knocked the burst panel out of his, and they both coasted, and he beat us. And
Oh.
it was hateful, man. But leading up to it, that was my good, and we had a good time talking about it at that banquet. I
Yeah.
finally got some of them guys to come to it.
Yeah.
You know, they would never come. And I said, man, come to it. We don't care who won, lost,
Yeah.
first, 10th. Come on and let's have a celebration.
Yeah.
So him and his wife came, Shane Stewart. I was there with some folks, and we had a good time. Yeah.
I've actually been trying to track Pete down. We were scheduled to do an interview last year, and it just fell apart before the Heritage Series started. So I'm working on it again this year. We'll see if we can
get him on there, man. He's got some good stories. I mean, he was raised in a nitro family. You know,
Yeah.
his dad. No, he drove a top front motor, top fuel car in the Heritage Good Guys Series when he was 16.
Oh,
He
really?
won the championship. Yeah. So he's been around a while. Yep.
Well, Bobby, I appreciate you coming on here, giving me the time. I know you're a busy dude.
I ain't talk that. You don't
So-
talk racing, man.
I'm going to try to get credentialed for all the races. We'll figure out how to make that happen. I'm sure it is going to be a difficult thing to do.
Not really, man. You just hook up with me. Let me know what you're looking to do. You need
Okay.
to come to California sometime.
I just, that whole Bakersfield media freak show and the whole thing that
I
goes
don't know what's going on out there. I think it's going to get better. I
Do ya?
think. Yeah. If I were coming, I know the March meet is a very famous race. I know it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that fall race for a person coming is a better race only because of the weather.
Yeah.
Man, in March it can be some snow. It
Yeah.
could be 90 degrees. It can be that one day and that the next. You know. So.
Well, you
but-
know what? Maybe I'll just, if you guys are going to be out there this fall, if you're going to be there, maybe I'll just hit you up. You can put me on the team. I'll come out that way and we'll just,
Oh yeah. Well,
just film you all weekend. How about
You
that?
come on out and you can run the valves and set the time.
Shit. You actually want to make it down the track, don't you? Like I told you, if I was 20 years younger, I'd be right there with you guys. But yeah, not going to happen.
Well, my brother, they're going to run that car full series, man.
Are they going to do the series?
Yeah. He actually sold that car to a fella. The whole operation, all the assets, everything, every nut, bolt, wrench. And Mikey will continue to drive it. And they actually building a new car right now. We'll have at Bowling Green.
Okay.
So big toter home, big stacker, going full tilt, man. So,
Well, good luck to him.
yeah.
One of the best captures I ever had was him coming right by my face.
I know.
Doing a burnout. It about blew my head off.
I'm just glad he went on and did it
Yeah.
because he'd never got. I pushed him out of the way all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But get out of the way, man. So for him to come back at 60 some years old and drive a front motor top fuel car is pretty badass.
I'm just curious, how does Tyler feel about, we're coming to the end of the run here. How does he feel about that?
I don't know. Let me tell you a quick secret. We're going to go funny car racing with. Yeah, we're going to go out to the Arizona Nationals with Jerry in that Atlas car,
Yeah.
Rupert's old car, and we're going to help him with the race car. We're going to do it. We're going to set the body down. We're going to do it all, and then later on this summer, we're going to put Tyler in and let him get his license and
Oh,
see where that goes. Yeah.
well, I guess it's no different than to have a top fuel motor sitting in your face.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're easier. I think they're easier, man. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to hearing more about that in the future. So,
I'll keep you posted. It's
Yeah.
happening though. The plane tickets are already bought. So
all right, man. I'm looking forward to it. That'd be something.
Okay.
Tyler in a top fuel
funny car, a 550 funny car to boot.
Does he have any
Yeah.
desire to move on to the next level?
No,
He has no desire
no,
to go to the next level.
hell no, nope.